Welcome in, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hope that all is well and hope you had a good NFL Week 16 weekend. So, as usual, another very exciting weekend in the NFL. We had a lot of good games. The regular season is coming to an end, so we're starting to see the full playoff picture. We got a lot of good games to talk about. A lot of players stood out, and I'm just going to give my overall take from NFL Week 16 action. So, some particular games that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the big Thursday night football matchup between Matt Stafford of the Rams and Sam Darnold of the Seahawks. That was a big game to see who's going to win the NFC West division and possibly be the number one overall seed. We're going to talk about the incredible game and incredible ending between the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, and the Detroit Lions and Jared Goff. We're going to take a look at the game between Drake May of the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Another very exciting game there as well. And we also had a good matchup between the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, and Jordan Love of the Packers. So, a lot of good stuff. Before we jump into all of that, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about money, sports, and personal topics with the goal of bringing value to other people's lives. So if you guys find value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. All right, let's go ahead and jump into NFL Week 16. All right, so the first game that we're going to jump into is the Thursday night football matchup between the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. So both teams heading into this game were 11-3, tied in the NFC West. So huge game here. Whoever wins this game most likely wins the division and possibly gets the number one seed, where they would get the bye in the first week in the playoffs and have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So huge game in week 16. This is pretty much like a playoff game. So a lot on the line here. And the game for sure did not disappoint. In this one, the Seahawks, they squeeze out the win 38-37. They improved to 12-3 on the season. The Rams fall to 11-4. So big win by the Seahawks, and their playoff future looks very bright this season. Let's check out some of the game leaders in this game. All right, Los Angeles Rams, Matt Stafford, just a crazy MVP season. Another amazing game, 29 for 49, 457 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's going to win the MVP this season. Josh Allen, Drake May having really good seasons as well, but Matt Stafford is going to win it. Also for the Rams, Puka Nakua, huge game, 12 receptions, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that's as good of a game as you're going to see from a wide receiver. On the other side, Sam Darnold had a pretty good game as well, 22 for 34, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So not as good as Stafford, but still good enough to get the win. Kenneth Walker, 100 yards rushing with a touchdown. And their wide receiver, Smith and Jigba, 96 yards with one touchdown. So this is as an exciting of a regular season football game as you're going to get. Again, I mentioned all the things that were on the line in this one, and these teams definitely did not disappoint. A lot of offense in this one. Um, we had the MVP of the season, most likely, versus Sam Darnold, who's resurrected his career. So just a lot of intrigue in this one. And again, the Seahawks get the win 38-37. They're going to probably be the number one seed in the NFC and have home field advantage and first week bye in the playoffs. So their probability of getting to the Super Bowl increased significantly after this game. And for the Rams, the opposite. Their probability of getting to the Super Bowl decreased significantly just because of the harder path that they're going to have in the playoffs. But they can still do it. I'm definitely a Rams fan, Matt Stafford fan. So we'll see. Maybe Matt Stafford wins the MVP, maybe wins the Super Bowl. That would be an amazing season for him. And that'll definitely get him into the Hall of Fame. But the Seahawks having a really, really impressive season so far. We weren't sure what to expect from Sam Darnold this season. He had a really good season with the Vikings last year. So coming into the season with a new team, new coach, we weren't sure if it was going to be the good version of Sam Darnold or the bad version. Um, but it's definitely the good version of Sam Darnold. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's definitely going to have a chance at the Super Bowl. Just with this game, just at the very end, it was tied, so the game went to overtime. The Rams get a touchdown. Everything looks good. The Seahawks get the ball back. Then they drive down the field. They get a touchdown, and they decide to go for the 2-point conversion. If they get it, they win the game. If they don't, they lose the game. So it was kind of risky, but it makes sense to go for it. They get the 2-point conversion, and that's the game. So good job by the Seahawks, but as a Rams fan, I was definitely disappointed. All right, so we had a big, big matchup in the NFC North division. I love to watch these NFC North teams go head to head. It's always exciting. So in this one, we had the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love go up against Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. So two young quarterbacks, um, two quarterbacks who are the future of the NFL. Jordan Love having a good season, but they lost Micah Parsons for the season with the injury. And for the Chicago Bears, they're having one of the better seasons of the NFL. Caleb Williams is playing well. Ben Johnson, their head coach, is calling some amazing plays. So just a lot of intrigue in this game as well. And the Bears, they just keep winning. Um, and this game also went to overtime, and the Bears got the 22-16 win. They improved to 11-4 on the season, and the Packers fall to 9-5-1. Let's check out the game leaders in this one. All right, so for the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, he went 8 for 13, 77 yards. He got injured. So Malik Willis came in. He went 9 for 11 for 121 yards with one touchdown. And Romeo Dobbs had 84 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, 19 for 34, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And their running back, Swift, had 58 yards rushing, and Moore had 97 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. All right, so this wasn't the most exciting game just because Jordan Love got injured and it just wasn't the same since then. But the Chicago Bears, they took advantage of that. They played good enough. They get the win 22-16, and they're going to win the NFC North Division. So, just some thoughts on the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. Towards the beginning of the season and even preseason, a lot of noise around Caleb Williams and the Bears. Are they going to struggle? How's it going to work with Ben Johnson? They had a lot of issues to start the season, very up and down. But here we are, week 16. They're 11-4. They're going to win their division. They look really good. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, that marriage looks very good. And it's going to work out for a long time. So, I don't know. The Chicago Bears, one of the most surprising seasons for sure. And not sure if this is just a regular season thing, but I definitely am intrigued to see them in the playoffs to see if they are legit or if this was just kind of a regular season thing for them. And for the Packers, I mean, the Micah Parsons injury is huge from the other week, so they're just not going to be the same defensively. So honestly, I don't think the Packers are going very far in these playoffs. If I had to guess, I would say they would be one and done, but we'll see what happens with both of these teams in the playoffs. So I want to talk a little bit about the game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. So both of these teams are in the NFC South division. They're fighting to win the division and make the playoffs. Heading into this one, both teams were 7-7, so they're tied. And with the 3 weeks left in the regular season, they face each other twice. So these head-to-head matchups are huge. And in this one, my hometown Tampa Bay Buccaneers unfortunately lose 20-23 to the Panthers. The Panthers improved to 8-7 on the season, and the Bucks fall to 7-8. So big win for the Panthers and their playoff chances, but still 2 weeks to go. The Bucks have a chance. They definitely have to win that last game versus the Panthers if they want to get into the playoffs. But let's go ahead and check out the game leaders in this one. Baker Mayfield for the Bucks, he went 18 for 26, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So just kind of a solid game there. And Bucky Irving, 71 yards rushing, and Emeka Ibuka, 40 yards receiving. So not the best offensive game by the Bucks this week. On the other side for the Panthers, Bryce Young, 21 for 32, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And their wide receiver, McMillan, had 73 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. All right. So, again, huge game in this one. I'm not sure what's going on with the Buccaneers. They were looking good the first half of the season, but they've just kind of fallen off the cliff these last several weeks, like a month or so. Unfortunately, they're in this situation now where most likely they won't make the playoffs, but they still have a chance. Um, so, two very different halves. So, the season, regular season, the first half of the regular season was good, second half was bad, but we still have hope. We'll see what happens in the last week. On the other side, Carolina Panthers get a big win. And just Bryce Young, man, he was looking bad last season. He was looking like a potential bust, being a number one overall pick. But he's had a solid season this year. He's got his team in first place in the division, good chance of making the playoffs. So it was definitely good to see Bryce Young have a successful season this year and resurrect his career. So we'll see. We'll see week 18 which of these two teams make the playoffs, and I'll definitely be rooting for the Bucks that last week. So next we're going to talk about one of the teams that I love watching the most, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars and their exciting offense with Trevor Lawrence. So in this one, they went up against the team with the best record in the AFC, the Denver Broncos. So this was a matchup of Trevor Lawrence of the Jags versus Bo Nix of the Broncos. So a cool little quarterback matchup in this one. And we had a big win by the Jags, 34-20. Huge upset. They improved to 11-4 on the season. The Broncos fall to 12-3. So these two teams are now the top teams in the AFC. We'll see which one of them ends up getting the number one seed. And it's kind of hard to imagine that the Jacksonville Jaguars have the potential to be the number one seed in the AFC, just with all the issues they've had these past seasons and with Trevor Lawrence. So, big season for the Jags for sure this year. Let's check out the game leaders for the Jags. Trevor Lawrence, 23 for 36, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So another amazing week for Trevor Lawrence after his amazing week last weekend. Travis Etienne, 50 yards rushing, and PJ Washington had a good game with 145 yards receiving with a touchdown. Check out the Broncos. Bo Nix, 28 for 47, 352 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So he had a pretty good game as well. And Cortland Sutton had 86 yards receiving with 1 touchdown. All right. So what else can we say about this game and these two teams? Definitely one of the more exciting games of the weekend. I was definitely looking forward to this one. Um, Definitely surprised just because the Jags have been so inconsistent. They have a good game one weekend, and then the next weekend they have a horrible game. So they had an amazing game last weekend. So I was kind of expecting that they might kind of have a drop off in this game, but that wasn't the case. Trevor Lawrence has another amazing game. Um, I think he's had around maybe 10 touchdowns, 9 or 10 touchdowns these last 2 weeks, passing and running. And honestly, he's one of the more exciting quarterbacks to watch. I love his game. Um, he throws the ball all over the field, down the field. He throws like bombs. He uses his legs all the time when he needs to. So I'm definitely a big Trevor Lawrence fan. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch, probably him and Aaron Rodgers. So definitely going to be rooting for the Jags in the playoffs and Trevor Lawrence, and we'll see how far they go. Denver Broncos, this was just kind of a bump in the road for them, not a big deal. They're getting ready for the playoffs as well, and we'll see which of these two teams is going to be the better team in the playoffs. So finally, we get to talk about the best game of this NFL weekend, the most exciting game, and the game that I was most looking forward to. And that is the big matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers versus Detroit Lions and Jared Goff. Both teams had a lot on the line. The Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to stay ahead of the Baltimore Ravens in their division and make the playoffs by winning the AFC North. Detroit Lions also fighting to make the playoffs. So, two very good coaches going head to head, Mike Tomlin of the Steelers, Dan Campbell of the Lions. It was Aaron Rodgers playing again in Detroit versus the Lions. So just a lot of excitement in this game. Aaron Rodgers is my favorite player, huge Aaron Rodgers fan, and they squeeze out the win in this one, 29-24. It was definitely nerve-wracking, but we got the W, and that's all that matters. So let's check out some of the game leaders. So for the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, 27 for 41, 266 yards, one touchdown, zero interceptions. So just a very good game by him. No turnovers. He made some big throws down the field. So very good game for the 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Their running back, Jaylen Warren, had a huge game, 143 yards rushing with two touchdowns. Their other running back, Kenneth Gainwell, had 78 yards receiving with one touchdown. So the Steeler running backs were a huge part in this win this week. On the other side, Jared Goff, 34 for 54, 364 yards, three touchdowns. So an amazing game by Goff. And their wide receiver, Williams, had 70 yards receiving. So a lot of offense in this one, a lot of excitement. I was glued to this game for sure. So again, for the Steelers, they're trying to stay ahead of the Ravens in their division. And this week, the Ravens lost. So the fact that Steelers won and the Ravens lost, that increases the Steelers' lead over the Ravens. So I'm definitely happy about that. Love to watch Aaron Rodgers. He definitely still has a lot of game left. His mind is amazing. He doesn't make any mistakes. Um, he's just honestly I'm very impressed by Aaron Rodgers this season. Um, he definitely should come back next season, no matter what happens like this year. He's still got a lot of game left, and I definitely want to see him come back next season with the Steelers. And Mike Tomlin, their head coach, he's going to have another winning season. So I think he's had 19 straight seasons of having a winning record in the season. So that's just crazy with all the turnover that happens with these teams and injuries and just really for that long, for 19 years, to not have a losing season. That's one of the most impressive things that I've seen in the sports world. So, but the job is still not done for the Steelers. Um, they just need one more win, hopefully next week versus the Browns, and then they will officially have won the division, the AFC North. Um, but if not, they still have that matchup versus the Ravens in Week 18. So work is still not done for the Steelers, but one more win or one more loss by the Ravens these last 2 weeks, and the Steelers win the division and are in the playoffs. For the Lions, it's looking like they're not going to make the playoffs this season. Um, they're definitely one of the more exciting teams with their offense. Um, Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, very exciting running backs. Amon-Ra St. Brown, amazing wide receiver. And Jared Goff is having another really good season, but they're just not having the same success as before. And it's looking like the Lions are not going to make the playoffs. So, just on this game, crazy ending. The Steelers, they go up late in the game. Um, the Lions get the ball back. They drive all the way down the field, and they have a chance to score a touchdown multiple times, but they had multiple penalties, which made their team go back. And at the very end, they throw the ball. Wide receiver, I believe it was Amon-Ra St. Brown, not sure, but it's called for pass interference. Plus, he got tackled before getting to the end zone. He tosses the ball back to Jared Goff. The Lions think they scored a touchdown and they won the game, but the refs called offensive pass interference, and that was basically the game. So just a lot of chaos at the very end. I was definitely nervous as a Steelers fan. I thought the Lions were going to win the game. I thought it was going to be a heartbreaking loss for the Steelers, and it was very, very nerve wracking for sure. But again, Steelers get the win. We'll take it. They're playing good, and unfortunately, looks like DK Metcalf was suspended. So for his incident with a fan, so that's not what we want to see. They definitely could use him this next week versus the Browns. So we had a pretty good game for Sunday Night Football. Love to watch Sunday Night Football games. In this one, it was the New England Patriots and Drake May versus Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Um, a lot on the line for these teams as well. Patriots trying to be the top seed in the AFC, along with the Denver Broncos and Jacksonville Jaguars. On the other side, Baltimore Ravens trying to catch up to the Steelers in their division and win the AFC North. So, a lot on the line for both teams. A very exciting game. Two very exciting quarterbacks, but in this one, Drake May gets the win, 28-24. Patriots improve to 12-3, and the Ravens fall to 7-8. Let's check out the game leaders in this one. For the Patriots, we had Drake May go 31 for 44, 380 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So Drake May continues his MVP play. He's top 3 MVP candidate, along with Josh Allen and Matt Stafford for sure. Stephon Diggs had a huge game in this one, 9 receptions, 138 yards. So that Drake May and Stephon Diggs connection looks amazing. Um, looks a little bit like Tom Brady and Randy Moss connection. So the Patriots look like the good old Patriots from the Tom Brady days again. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, he went 7 for 10, 101 yards. He got injured. Derrick Henry had a good game, 128 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns. Zay Flowers, 84 yards receiving. All right, so even though Lamar Jackson got injured in this one, it was still a pretty exciting game to watch. It went down to the wire. The Patriots were down, and Drake May, he just drove his offense down the field continuously. He was making big throw after big throw. I was definitely very impressed by him. And the Patriots were able to get the win in Baltimore and try to win the number one seed in the AFC. Um, for the Ravens, big loss in this one. Um, their probability of making the playoffs went down significantly. I mean, they still have a chance. They have to win out the next 2 games. And at the same time, the Steelers have to lose out the next 2 games, which, I mean, it's mathematically, obviously, it's possible. Um, but they don't want to be in that position where they have to have that happen. So it's not looking good for the Ravens. They still have a chance, but I'm hoping the Steelers win versus the Browns next week, and that way the Ravens will be officially eliminated and Steelers will win the division. But definitely a very disappointing season for the Ravens so far. Um, I think we thought they were going to have one of the best records in the AFC with Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson has been not himself this season, and the Ravens defense has also struggled all season. So we'll see what happens. They're probably not making the playoffs, but they got a chance, but nonetheless, still kind of a down season. All right, so the last game on our plate that we're going to talk about is another exciting game. We have Monday Night Football tonight, San Francisco 49ers versus Indianapolis Colts, Brock Purdy versus Philip Rivers. I'm definitely going to watch this game, very excited about it. I want to see how Philip Rivers looks in his second game back, coming back from his retirement. Um, the 44-year-old, I mean, all things considered, had an okay game last week, almost got a win for the Colts. So definitely want to see how he does in this second week. The Colts still have a slight chance of making the playoffs, but they probably won't make the playoffs. So definitely an exciting game. And I'm hoping Philip Rivers has a really good game. The Colts win and that they keep their playoff hopes alive. But we shall see. On the other hand, Brock Purdy, he's got his team at 10-4 with all the things that they've been through this season, with their quarterback injuries, Mac Jones having to come in for a few weeks. Um, they've had a lot of injuries on their defense as well. So just the fact that the 49ers and Brock Purdy are 10-4 on the season with all that stuff, I think is really impressive. And the win probability is looks like 65% 49ers, 34 for the Colts. So I think the 49ers will win this game. They're the better team and should win the game, but I'm definitely going to be rooting for the Indianapolis Colts and Philip Rivers. I hope he has an amazing game. And let's go Colts tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings in the NFL after week 16, see what things look like. So on the AFC East side, we have the Patriots at 12-3, Buffalo Bills 11-4. Patriots should win this division, but still a chance of Bills winning the division. But both of those teams are going to the playoffs. AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers, they have I would say, solid lead over the Ravens in the division. Steelers should win this division and would be the only team that makes the playoffs out of the AFC North division. AFC South, Jacksonville Jaguars looking good. They should win the division, but Houston Texans are right there as well. And the Colts most likely will not make the playoffs. AFC West, Denver Broncos looking good at 12-3, should win the division. Chargers have a chance of winning the division, but both of those teams should be in the playoffs, and we know that the Chiefs are out. NFC East, Eagles are going to win this division. They're the only team making the playoffs out of the NFC East. NFC North, Chicago Bears most likely are going to win this division. Packers will be in the playoffs. Lions is looking like that they're not going to be in the playoffs. NFC South, Bucks had a lead through most of the season, but Carolina Panthers have now taken the lead in the NFC South. Not sure what's going to happen here. It all comes down to that last game between those two teams. Only one team is going to make the playoffs out of this division. So I'm thinking I'm going to go with the Bucks to win the last game versus the Panthers and make the playoffs, but hard to say. And NFC West, Seahawks, we just saw their big win over the Rams. They're 12-3 in the division. They should win the division and possibly be the number one seed overall. Have a first week bye in the playoffs and home games throughout the playoffs. Rams will be in the playoffs, and 49ers should be in the playoffs as well. All right. So that's all I wanted to cover for NFL Week 16 action. I hope you guys liked the video and got some value out of the content. If you did, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Feel free to hit the like button and make some comments about what you think of NFL Week 16 action and just overall NFL. And I'll see you guys next time.